Hello, this is Gareth, just jumping in at the start to say that most of this episode is made up of us talking about a baffling meme that was posted on the Young Fine Gael page. So I've put the link below for context, as future generations will surely need it. But and I do recognise the problem inherent in describing a meme on a purely audio form, but I do think it's well worth it, and we get into some, hopefully, I don't know, fuck it, I don't need to justify myself to you. You listen to it, tell me if you like it. That's the thing about Kanye is that's funny is like first of all, like years ago I dated this lady who liked Kanye West, and I was incredibly dismissive. And I was incredibly dismissive of everybody who liked Kanye West. I just was like, he's just some fucking dumbass. And and
which on many levels he is.
Yes, I know, yeah. And it's actually funny because it wasn't the because he, you know, it was the Runaway stuff and him being like, you know, doing that type of shit. I was kind of like, all right, whatever. It wasn't. This is really bad, but it wasn't until he started like kind of being crazy Trump supporter that I started to be like, I'm gonna have to have a look at this.
Like when he was like 400 years of slavery. That sounds like a choice to me. You know.
Yeah. I just had to I don't know what it was that drew me to it, but then like once you get into it, then I think it's because a lot of people are like, wow, I can't believe that he would do this, but you know, what's wrong with him? He's mental, he's doing all this. And it's like, yeah, he is maybe mental, but he's kind of indulging it in a way that nobody else gets to indulge in it. And the thing about it is I think there's a consistency with what he does. Like a lot of people would say, oh, it coincides with him releasing an album, and I was like, I don't agree with that. I think that like he's in the news all the time, first of all, but then the second thing is if it does coincide with him releasing an album, it's only because the media has to pay attention to him rather than, you know, rather than it's a conscious effort on his part to do something crazy and spontaneous. But the thing about it is the consistent part is the love of power. He loves power, and this is like one of the most high-profile studies of power that you can possibly see. You know, everything he does is like, like I was talking about Kayla the last day because she thinks I'm fucking an idiot. You know, but I was talking about it where there was a song that I heard on YouTube that was suggested. I can never remember the name of it for whatever reason. But it's with him, Jay-Z, and
Frank Ocean.
And it was recorded in like 2012.
Okay.
And it's got a really kind of heavy beat to it. But the music video is about just people in the streets in violence, throwing like Molotov cocktails and you know, the cops are just brutalizing them. And it seems to be a concept album that was kind of about like, that both of them could see that there was this kind of anger that was taking place in the streets, because I was like Occupy and the language of the 1% was kind of coming about. And this is like 2 or 3 years before Run the Jewels kind of capitalized and made that a thing, you know? And then he did that, and then he was like, okay, what else? I don't know, Trump, I guess. Trump, I'm into Trump now. You know, like, I think that
and like
that's consistent. You know?
One of the best things when he was releasing, I think, I can't remember what album it was. Maybe it wasn't even an album at all. He released this song on his website, and it was like he released it later, but he completely ruined it. And it was like it was like a lullaby to his daughter. It was really good, but it was like the only time you ever see him kneel before anyone else. And it's like him to his daughter. So like,
that's sweet.
Yeah, it was nice. It was like the only time I've been like, that is nice. But,
well, I think like
The stuff he did
Yeah,
with Paul
like-
McCartney is great. Where you're like, you're the.
It is.
He invites him
yeah.
in and then like tells him what to do, and then he's like, okay, leave it with me, and then he just
Yeah.
releases it.
Yeah.
That was great.
I love that Damon Albarn was like, because Paul McCartney was like, I was just pretty confused by the whole thing, I'll be
Yeah.
honest. And then Damon Albarn was like, Paul McCartney came to me and said he was going to be collaborating with Kanye West.
Yeah.
And I told him, don't do it. Don't do it. He is the most selfish collaborator in the world. And it is funny because like Damon Albarn, like of course Gorillaz, and pretty much any post-Blur project that he's done, it's all he is actually seems to be a very good collaborator, do you know?
Yeah.
And somebody who loves working with people and creating new sounds and stuff like that, and or infusing their different sensibilities together.
Yeah.
So I imagine he would take he would be like really pissed off at Kanye West's form of collaboration, which is that everybody is just a tool at his disposal to achieve whatever he has in his head. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. CelticLigers.com.
I can't believe we actually have a .com. That's
Yeah.
insane. Yeah. That was just like James. Yeah. By the way, this is the third attempt at a podcast that just did not want to exist.
Yeah.
And
Young Fine Gael
so,
are psyoping us.
yeah. So this is a version 3 of an emergency podcast, which we'll get to. We'll get to in due course.
Yeah,
But basically, James said CelticLigers.com, and I thought, shit, now I have to get CelticLigers.com because somebody might take it, especially now that James has said it. But of course, since that podcast got eaten by the computer,
Yeah.
we still got CelticLigers.com, and now I'm wondering why did I even bother?
I do love your relationship with the name because it's like such an obscure name for a start. And
Celtic Ligers.
yeah, and then when we signed up, you were like, can you believe we got CelticLigers@gmail.com? Can you believe this name? Can you believe this name wasn't taken on Twitter? Can you believe this website wasn't taken?
I don't know. I think I guess this is kind of a problem that I have, which is that I presume that things are obvious to everybody. Do you know what I mean? So I presume that if something came into my head, then it's automatically been screened into somebody else's head as well.
Okay.
But the thing about it is, like, to me, we were thinking about what's a name for a podcast, something that references something political in Ireland and then kind of takes a bit of a tongue-in-cheek kind of subversive angle on it. So I was thinking like Celtic Tiger. Oh, what about a liger? Because we around that time was fucking the thing. What is it?
Napoleon Dynamite.
Tiger King. Well, Napoleon Dynamite as well, but the Tiger King was also out, and there was ligers in that, and they look like exceptionally stupid animals. But from Napoleon Dynamite, yeah, I did find that very funny. His drawings of ligers, and that initially, like I said, was going to be the logo, some sort of variation on like a really crappy teen drawing of a big kind of majestic Celtic, Celtic liger. But anyway, that's why now we're at a stage though where I'm coming up with all this promo, and we just did a promo for and it was also very funny, the anonymous mask, and then to make that look kind of like a liger. But now we're at a stage where I did up a little promo video, and I used hopefully I don't know if this is I'm not allowed to do this, but the video that was on Twitter of the protest that was marching down O'Connell Street.
The fascist one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Izzy Kamikaze standing in the way of it. I took that video and then just slowed it down to about tenth its normal speed. And then I put that accompanying the bit as a teaser. I took the audio of us talking about that from the Patreon episode and put it on YouTube,
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden I was like, fuck, should I have like emailed and asked for permission? But I mean, it's online anyway, so like I'm not making money off of it, so what's the... And I was like, you know what, like we're very clearly like saying we're against this, and it adds commentary, and fuck it, they were on like the Echo Chamber podcast, so I'm presuming that they don't really care, you know. But then, anyways, I was like, what if they saw this video? And I was suddenly aware of that we have the anonymous mask as our logo. You know what I mean? Very suddenly.
Yeah.
I was suddenly like, people are going to look at like what we do, and unless they have the same level of detached irony that we had when we were setting the thing up, they might think that we're like fascists. You know? And that's
cool.
basically the same with, yeah. Yeah, we want to muddy the waters a bit. So
Celtic Ligers.
So
I had a Nancy Pelosi moment there.
Hello, good morning. Sunday morning.
Yeah, that was so like, creepy. Did you watch the video?
I thought I saw the video.
The interview is so clearly like, he's so clearly like, what the fuck is going on?
I was looking. Well, the best clip now, like, I mean, almost as if on cue this week after Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, a wealth of clips of all of these Democratic operatives revealing themselves to be completely like decrepit, confused, elderly people. There was like the clip that they spoke about on Chapo of the guy shitting himself next to Nancy Pelosi.
Was that real?
And then well, he something happened and he walked off stage like he had shit himself, and it was the most awkward looking thing ever. And people are saying, oh, he shit himself. And then you have Nancy Pelosi going like, good morning, Sunday morning. And that was like that was a weird thing, because it, you know, if she, okay, so let's say she's asked a difficult question, she's trying to deflect, so she pretends that she can't hear, you know?
Yeah.
So then she like pretends she can't hear and she goes, good morning, like somebody said good morning to her. But then the fact she says Sunday morning, it's like, oh, she's not there. Something happened to her.
Yeah.
She left the building for a second or two.
Yeah.
There, you know?
Yeah.
So what was it? But no, the other clip I really wanted to bring up was finally proof positive that James has been wrong for months now. He was like, there's no way that they could prop up a man with dementia just to get in there. It's just not possible. And then there's a clip of Joe Biden, you know, because you were saying, oh, he'd have to be really aggressive if he had dementia.
Yeah.
And he, you know,
that ruled, where he was just like,
yeah,
you tell her.
Well, he goes, and, you know, I at some army base, and he's like, and, you know, I have good foresight and I know things, you know, that's, of course, I got sense, that's why I married Jill Biden over there, and of course, that's why I appointed this army guy who, you know, Gareth Lyons, I cannot remember the name of. And then he pauses, and everybody kind of realizes that they're supposed to have a reaction. So there's a little bit of a kind of building up, but then he goes, clap, you stupid bastards. And it was just like,
yeah.
The guy who tweeted that out was pointing out, he's like, this is the Chad energy to the Jeb Bush's please clap energy. You know, it's just like, he's so pissed off. He's like, you don't understand, you idiots. You're supposed to clap at that bit, you fucking morons. That's a good thing I did, fucking idiots.
There's a post on 4chan, and it's someone who is claiming to be working for the campaign at a low level. Have you seen that?
No.
And like, it could be all fake, probably is. But one of the things he claims is that Joe Biden is now incontinent.
Yeah, I mean, I'd buy it.
Why? Just
because they're probably all incontinent, you know?
I wish, you know, the way you read back in the day, like the French court, the king was so influential that everybody would copy the king. Like, have you heard?
Right.
Apparently they used to all, he'd get like a colonoscopy or something. Not a colonectomy. And he, I don't know, one of the kings, and he had surgery on his ass. And it became, the surgery became really trendy.
Interesting.
And like they were all getting like ass surgery and wearing that. But it'd be amazing if, like, you know, Pete Buttigieg came out and was like pissing and shitting himself. And
think about Billy Madison. Poop in your pants is the coolest.
You know? Can do, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I think the reason it's not because I think he's incontinent because, oh, look at his obvious mental decline. It's I saw him walking up to a podium and he just looked like a frail, falling apart old man.
Really?
You know? He just looked like he looked like the crypt keeper. He was like just hunched over and every part of him was shaking and he was having difficulty. He was like the fucking butler in Tomb Raider. Do you know that guy that like follows you around?
Great.
You know,
he goes like,
he was great.
When you shoot him, he goes like, ooh. You know that?
Yeah.
You
and then you could lock him in the freezer.
Yeah. You put in the cheat to take off all his clothes.
Let's just talk about this meme that has the entire world talking. Just fucking talk about the meme. Pull that shit up. Jamie, pull that up. Never listened to a single episode of Rogan. All I know is from people making fun of Joe Rogan that there's somebody called Jamie who pulls clips up for him.
Yeah, he's always pulling shit up.
Yeah.
So let's start from the beginning. What's a meme?
What is a meme? I'm gonna look that up actually. It's just something online that's kind of like an element of a culture or system of behavior passed from one individual to another by imitation or other non-genetic means. That's the first one. Second definition, an image, video, piece of text, typically humorous in nature, that is copied and spread rapidly by internet users, often with slight variations.
So we recorded 2 episodes yesterday.
Very annoying.
Trying to accurately describe this meme. So we have it down to pat.
We know what it is. We know how to do it. And some of our best takes just eaten up by the computer, lost. We're going to try and recapture them. But, I mean, I guess all the stuff was too hot to handle for our recording devices and internet connection. So here we go. We've explained what a meme is. You're in on the ground floor. You are ahead of Young Fine Gael. You know what a meme is now.
Yeah.
Okay?
Just Young Fine Gael obviously hired someone to make this meme, first of all. Because, like...
James claims. There's a debate.
It's so... and it's not because it's so good. It's just because it's better than any of them could ever do. And also...
Yeah.
I don't believe that they know what memes are. You know?
You said something which I think bears repeating, which is... you said... Young Fine Gael, first of all, they're not young.
Yeah.
You said
just in case people think we're making fun of them, of like children.
Yeah.
Young Fine Gael are anywhere from 18 to 35 years old. They're like older than us.
Yeah.
There were grown men walking around saying that not even the head of Young Fine Gael, you know? They'll be like on the committee. And I'll be like,
yeah,
some 35-year-old loser who is trying to... like, I'll give you an example of who could theoretically be on the board of Young Fine Gael. Or we had a teacher in school who quit to try to become a barrister, right? And he would join. He was trying to get in with Fianna Fáil.
Yeah.
And so he was sucking up to people like Jack Chambers.
No way.
And he would turn up, but the thing is that he would offer to fly her, but then turn up late and leave early. And like this whole idea was to build up, contacts for his barrister practice. So like, that's the 2 dimensions of these young political parties. It's either people like Jack Chambers or, people like Mr. Hogan.
Well, I think that Young Fine Gael are more... just named him.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about Phil Hogan for a second. I was like, wait, who does he mean Hogan? But then Young Fine Gael are distinguished in that they are a little bit more idealistic than...
Young Fine Gael think that they influence, like, government policy.
Completely. Yeah.
Like, they take it so seriously, and they're so insane.
Because, like, one of the things was, I was like, oh, actually, we were spent, the 2 episodes previous that got lost to the sands of time. Great game. No, it's not actually.
Yeah, Prince of Persia.
But there's a terrible game. But the what I meant to say is that I decided I would look up their Twitter page just to see what else they had out there. And within the past few hours, well, like yesterday as well, I guess within hours of posting the meme that we're going to be talking about, they'd also posted the poster for Knives Out.
Yeah.
And which is a movie that was released. Was it released earlier in the year or late last year?
It's
and
a
it was
movie
like
that I saw on a plane. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's like I don't know. Knives Out is like a horror film for losers. You know what I mean? It's like,
no, I think you're getting them mixed up with something else.
What am I thinking of?
Or are you? It's the one. It's an Agatha Christie type thing.
I'm thinking of
like a whodunit.
I'm thinking of the hide and seek one.
I can't remember that one.
It was released at the same time, and it's like a woman is going to get.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Did I get it
I know
right?
what you're talking about. No, it's not the same one, but I know exactly what you're talking about because they do have a kind of similar aesthetic, and they kind of have this other part where there's like rich people in it that are kind of getting their comeuppance.
Yes.
So, so that would make sense that you would confuse them, but no, they're different movies. Knives Out was directed by Rian Johnson, who had previously done The Last Jedi, Brick, and Looper. And so he directed this one, Knives Out, and it's just Daniel Craig plays a kind of southern detective who's sent in to solve the murder or death of this man, and so Knives Out, the poster for that so they photoshopped over with all of the Fianna Fáil people.
Can I guess it?
Yeah, go for it. Let me just pull up the image. Sorry. Okay. So actually, first of all, I've opened up at YFG, and the first picture that comes up is that panel show that's on Sky One called A League of Their Own.
Yes.
It's all of the Fine Gael councillors standing in front of that sign.
That sucks.
That's really bad. So the next thing then
that's like
is
that's like a joke that a stag party would do at 4:00 in the morning. Do you know what I mean? It's like a sober stag party,
Yeah. So I've opened up the Knives Out thing now, which was put out on the 26th. That was yesterday at 5 p.m.
So they were like, the first one is so good, we have to capitalize on this. Like, it's like that scene you were talking about in the Mattress Make documentary. It was like Stephen Fry likes one of their tweets, and they're like, how do we capitalize on this?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so it's Knives Out, but Fianna Fáil.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, like, you're talking about, like, the type of tweet. We need to capitalize on this. What is a thing that only a very specific type of white person knows, and something that is incredibly, like, dated, or that was something that will date immediately. As soon as it's born, it's already dying at a rate faster than anything on Earth. Do you know what I mean? It's like some sort of element that you have in a fucking petri dish or something.
Has like a half-life of half of a second. That sort of thing.
Yeah. So Knives Out. This is it. They decide to capitalize on it. They put out. So who is? I mean, first of all, I don't even know all the characters in Knives Out. So I don't even know who's going to be who. I can't even tell which one is Daniel Craig. But you can guess who Daniel Craig is straight away. So guess who he is.
It's not Micheál Martin, is it?
It is Micheál Martin, yeah.
Oh, that sucks. That's so bad. Yeah. That's so depressing. I can't even.
Unless it's... Okay, I'm going to look up the poster for Knives Out just to make sure that is Micheál Martin. And again, this is a great meme, by the way, when you just have to, like, look up stuff and be like, what? Knives Out? Oh, yeah. I think I saw that. Was that the one where it's like a horror film and they're running through? No, that's not. That's hide and seek. Okay, so Knives Out is like, it's like a murder mystery thing. Okay, cool. So what's it in relation to Fianna Fáil? Oh, well, it says Knives Out at the top. But is there any reference to the movie, or is it just, it's just the thing where it's written up? No, it's like our League of Our Own tweet. It's like the thing, and it's like, it's just written there. So now it's like that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Wait,
do you get what I'm saying? Yeah.
So they didn't even change the name. It just says Knives Out.
Yeah.
So there's no pun.
No, the joke is, hey, I guess the knives are out for Fianna Fáil. Fianna Fáil have the knives out, or do
Indeed. Like, it just says Knives Out, and then all the Fianna Fáil TDs are characters in Knives Out.
Yeah. But the thing about it is, by the way, I was wrong. Micheál Martin is not Daniel Craig. He is, in fact, Christopher Plummer, which is, if you have seen the movie, is the person who gets murdered. Okay?
It's unusual. Like, is this critical of Fianna Fáil?
Yes, it's meant to be a slight kind of jab at Fianna Fáil, where it's like they're making such a balls of it, and now it's a case of everybody's out for themselves, or maybe it means like Fine Gael that they're gonna, you know, somehow intervene, you know. And no, like they're not gonna intervene. I don't know.
But Fine Gael are in power with Fianna Fáil.
Yeah, but Young Fine Gael actually don't like that at all. They actually wrote a letter saying that discouraging them from agreeing to the plan for government.
Really?
Yeah. So in that case, you actually do have to give them some credit, doing something that the fucking Greens couldn't do, you know, just to be like, you know. But they really did think that would carry a lot more sway than it actually did. So I guess it does make more sense if the reading of it is correct that everybody is trying to kill Micheál Martin.
But they're not.
And take his place.
Like, it's not really accurate to say that, is it?
Are you looking at this poster, by the way?
No.
Like the Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil thing. There's some guy in the middle, and I don't know who he is. But actually, there is one that's really funny, is they've put Barry Cowan's face over Lakeith Stanfield. I don't even know him.
No.
He's a black actor, first of all, but he's also the he's in Uncut Gems. He plays like the guy who brings people to Howard's shop.
Oh, he's English.
No, he's not English. He's American. But I just find it funny that they've gone over this black guy with this white guy's face. Is that?
It'd be funnier if they just left him. If they were like, no, we can't do that.
Can't touch that.
Yeah.
Everybody's there with Lakeith Stanfield.
Say Knives Out.
Yeah, so, I don't know. The one good one that they've done is, because obviously there's no consistency, because like all of the detectives are Fianna Fáil as well, and then all of the family are Fianna Fáil. So everybody there is Fianna Fáil, and you're like, I don't understand. But then the one good one though is that Jack Chambers is the spoiled little incel Trump supporter. So there you go. That's pretty good.
But back to the OG, the one that spawned them.
The
all.
OG meme, yeah. So why did I even go into?
So
Knives
it's
Out?
even like, so not Knives Out was like, well, I think everyone's heard of Knives Out. A lot of people have seen it, but like trying to think of trying to think of a less relevant, like more obscure show.
Yeah, like it's in the news because it won a bunch of Emmys, but then it's like the case of like in the Oscars this year, it's like Troll World Tour might win a fucking Oscar. So the idea of that it being talked about is not necessarily because it's such a popular show, everybody knows it.
So like yesterday, you brought up the perfect example, and it was on Brendan O'Connor.
Yes.
Who is the dumbest man alive. And he, or not even dumb, he's just the most boring, unimaginative person alive. And like, the way he approached this show was as if it was like a Serbian film or, the Human Centipede. He was afraid to even say the name because it was so edgy.
Yeah, because we were trying to talk about it in terms of like where did the origin for this come from. So we just looked at two different things. A League of Their Own, which is like, I guess, weekend TV that people who have Sky boxes watch.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know anything about it. Then you have Knives Out, which is kind of, I believe, was like an Oscar contender, and there was a little bit of talk about it, and it was kind of a celebrity film or whatever. But then Schitt's Creek is the show. Schitt's Creek has been in the news recently. Now, first of all, I don't know how many seasons there are of it. The first time I saw of it was on Netflix, and I saw the name Schitt's Creek, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I guess you can say shit now on things, and it doesn't really matter. And so then I stopped paying attention. I mean, the pedigree of it is that there's Eugene Levy, who's famous from the American Pie movies, and then I don't really know what else. And his son is the one who basically created it and I believe writes for it. He also stars in it. His name's Dan Levy. And, there's obviously everything to suggest that he probably wouldn't have gotten a show like this made if his dad hadn't been attached to it. So, whatever. I mean, it's no criticism of it. I guess things need to be made.
Yeah, hey,
somehow,
no one's criticizing Dan Levy here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I want that fucking clear, okay? Before this pod goes out, Dan Levy is not being criticized.
Like, there are a lot of spoiled kids out there, like freaking Ivanka Trump. Or,
let's talk about her for a minute, okay? Because I want to get off the freaking chain about Ivanka fucking Trump.
Yeah.
Here, let me tell you, actually, this show, Schitt's Creek, a little bit like the fucking Trumps, isn't it? Huh? Yes.
Yes.
Just they're rich people. They're rich people and they're dummies. So there you go. Just like the Trumps.
Do you know what another freaking show is like?
Do
you?
What?
What's the show where they kill a lot of people?
Oh God, The Boys. A lot of people die in horrific ways.
The Boys is like the freaking Clintons.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
But this show, it's like the freaking Orange family.
Yeah. It's like the freaking Proud family. No, it's not. One thing I wanted to say, that this is only something that just came to mind, but I was listening to Mark Maron's podcast, WTF, and this is years and years ago. He was interviewing Jason Reitman.
So he's grown a lot since then. So you're
exactly.
Yeah. He's not the same guy he was.
No, he's much worse. In fact, but he was interviewing Jason Reitman, who is Ivan Reitman's son. So Ivan Reitman directed Ghostbusters, Stripes, I believe, and like a few kind of huge comedies from the 80s. And Jason Reitman is also a director. He directed Juno and Up in the Air, and I don't know, just a few other fucking
and the Paycock.
The what?
He directed
Paycock.
Juno and the Paycock.
What's Juno and the Paycock?
The play by Arthur Miller. You idiot.
I'm actually looking it up and it's by Sean O'Casey, you fucking dick.
Okay,
so anyhow,
see you later.
So he's interviewed Jason Reitman, and Jason Reitman is going, you still there?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Jason Reitman is saying like, so we went to the investors and we told them about this movie that we wanted to make, and it was, you know, some story that we just felt had to be told, and we felt so passionate about it. And I mean, that was kind of it. That was the reason this movie went ahead. There's just a big pause, and then Marin goes like, yeah, well, sure your dad's name didn't hurt either, you know? And he just goes, well, yes, I mean, you know, that certainly helped. And and it's just so anyways, that was just in relation to Dan Levy on this show. So anyway, in relation then from Schitt's Creek. So I saw it on Netflix, and then the next time I heard about it was like somebody had it completely involuntary. I was in a car, and Brendan O'Connor's show was on, and one of his many projects, see how long this one lasts. How does he keep getting talk shows when he has, like, you know, by far and away the least charisma of any presenter in RT, and that's including Ryan Tuberty. But he when he had Pussy Riot on, like, we were, James, you have to say that bit where the fucking the like, kiss on the cheek.
There was like, first of all, they insisted that Pussy Riot have translators, even though they speak English. And the translator they had was a man. And then, so they come out, and as they're sitting down, Brendan O'Carroll kisses them all on the cheek. And then he goes, now I know you're wondering why I kissed that man on the cheek. Basically being like, I'm not gay. He's like, because I had to kiss the girls. And they said, well, if you're going to kiss us, you have to kiss the man. And so I thought about it. So he's like, I love, like, he's like thinking about it. And he's like, I decided I'd do it. Like, just don't kiss them. You know what I mean? Like, they clearly don't want
Why do you need to do this?
You know?
That's such a weird, like, Irish. It's not Irish, obviously, excuse me. Obviously, people greet each other by kissing them on the cheek. But I don't think in, like, France or, you know, Spain or Italy or whatever, you know, there's a lot more kind of, I don't know. I want to just say affectionate kind of greetings. Yeah. Whereas in Ireland, like, when you greet somebody on the cheek by kissing them on the cheek, to me, and I know that it's kind of an older thing for them to do, I always see that as incredibly patronizing. It never feels like, you know, oh, this is part of our culture. We're a lot more expressive in that way. It's literally like, you know, then that's the thing that's going through his head is like, oh, I have to kiss him on the cheek. I can't greet them without kissing them on the cheek. I can't greet a woman without kissing them on the cheek, obviously.
And it's like,
just like, why not?
If I was in that position and I was like, I'm going to kiss you on the cheek, and they were like, well, if you do that, you have to do it to him as well. I'd be like, well, clearly they don't want me to kiss them on the cheek. Do you know what I mean? Like, if they're setting conditions, I'd just be like, I'll leave it. You know?
But they know what you're saying then when you're asking to kiss them on the cheek as well. Do you know what I mean? Because that's why they're saying, oh, you have to kiss that guy on there as well. It's because it is, to me, and I know maybe this is real reaching, but like a sexist gesture, like a demeaning, And
then he was like,
so it's like,
and then he was like, when they leave, I will slap them all on the ass. You know, even the.
Did he actually? He didn't slap them on.
He did.
Sorry, no. I was just wondering. I don't watch his shows. I don't know. Maybe he's got fucking Imelda May on there. All right, goodbye, Imelda May. Just patting the tush as she's going out the door. You know. So, but anyway, the thing about it that's also interesting is that Pussy Riot would have, like, the thing they might have been protesting would have been the regressive approach of the Russian government to LGBTQ rights, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that they got arrested because they performed at a Catholic church or something.
Yeah.
And then they were detained, so people knew where they were. They were trying to figure out and then they disappeared for 2 weeks. Nobody knew where they were. And in Russia, that's definitely not a good sign. You definitely want to know where people are, you know?
Yeah.
So then they resurfaced, and then I could be wrong about this, but then their agent, who they should fire immediately, booked their first interview in an English-speaking network to be on fucking Brendan O'Connor, and he was like, "Can I kiss you on the cheek?" And they're like, "You have to kiss that guy as well." And he's like, "Okay, I will. Also, audience, I'm not gay. I want to, like, seriously, I really want you to know that I am not fucking gay, okay?" And then he keeps referring to them as girls, so obviously, like, adding more credence to the fucking misogynist thing. It's like, but like, the thing is, like, what they've done in their comparatively shorter time on this planet is so infinitesimally more important than what you do that the idea of you condescending to them in any way is obscene. You know, it's probably like the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened on Irish TV. It just by a hair passes when Jerry Seinfeld was on the Late Late Toy Show.
That was amazing. Like like the only way the Seinfeld thing could have been worse if like Tuberty was openly anti-Semitic towards Seinfeld.
It was Pat Kenny.
Oh yeah, it was freaking Pat Kenny.
And then Pat Kenny was like, I mean, it's such an amazing clip, but
Pat Kenny.
Just by the end of it,
Pat Kenny like did something openly anti-Semitic, like criticize Israel or promoted BDS or something like that.
He did something openly anti-Semitic, like retweeting an article that correctly states that the IDF trained the Minnesota Police Department. Something anti-Semitic like that. Actually, my favorite bit of reaching anti-Semitism was when David Baddiel retweeted about Jeremy Corbyn. He's like, I don't know, like, he basically was saying, have a moment, with your Jewish friends who definitely noticed the way that Jeremy Corbyn said Epstein instead of Epstein.
Man, the whole thing about like checking in on your friends is so bizarre, isn't it? Like, check in on your friends who might be affected by this. Imagine me just ringing up like, I don't know, some Jewish guy.
Hey, I saw what happened.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? You don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but Jeremy Corbyn on the TV. What's he done? Just Epstein.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought his name was Epstein. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, why are you calling me?
You're hurting.
I'm at work.
Yeah. I'm at my job, running the world.
So anyway, Brendan O'Connor on the radio. Let me finish this. I will finish this.
Okay, didn't interrupt.
I will finish what I start.
Didn't interrupt you, but okay, go on.
I just thought it might have been going that way, so I tried to preempt it.
Okay.
So Jeremy Corbyn. Oh damn it!
Right.
Brendan O'Connor. Anyway, he's like, so we have our resident Emmy expert on. I don't remember her name. Sorka. Sorka, you've been going through the list of the nominees this year, and there's quite a colourful entry there. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say it. Schitt's Creek, is that right? Oh, that's right, Brendan. Yes, Schitt's Creek. A lot of people have been talking about that, and for good reason. And anyway, it's the entire title of Schitt's Creek is designed for that.
Yeah,
it's designed for these mid-morning radio shows that have like just barely scratched the surface of arts and culture.
Yeah,
to just get like kind of like that's a bit funny, isn't it?
Yeah,
Schitt's Creek. Curious. Yeah,
it's like a real Meet the Fockers thing, but like
it's exactly like that. That is incredible. Yeah,
literally like 45 years later. It's so much later.
Yeah.
So the meme is of Schitt's Creek. 1 hour in, we're hitting the meme.
We've got the meme. So
we got the
Schitt's
name.
Creek. Yeah. So Schitt's Creek is the name of the show. So what they've done is they've
taken
taken a picture.
Bleep that out.
Bleep out shit $ Creek. Okay. I just want the listeners to know it is actually SCHITT $.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know what that spells. It could be Skated Creek, so, but
trying to get some plausible deniability.
Yeah.
In case you get fired.
We've got 75 complaints from the BAI, so now Brendan O'Connor's show is cancelled for continuously naming Schitt's Creek, So anyway, it's the thing from Schitt's Creek, and so the plot of Schitt's Creek is a show that it seems to be pretty face. Okay, sorry. I was just gonna say the type of comedy is very like face gurney type comedy, where it's like people making a lot of flamboyant gestures and faces, and it's a kind of it's about a rich family that has all of their assets repossessed, but the only thing they have left is a small town that they bought called Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
As a joke, he bought it for his son, and now they have to go live there, and it's kind of like, oh, they're rich and these people are poor.
Yeah.
And there's tremendous opportunity for gags, but it's just like, you know, it's kind of like at this moment in time, it is pretty safe to do rich people and poor people.
Yeah.
How do they get along with all their differences? It's just like, you know, Dan Levy, he's like, Dad, I want to write a sitcom. He's like, oh, well, you can use my face on anything. I don't really care.
Yeah.
And then Dan Levy's like, what about like a rich family that has to go poor? And yep, cool.
That's fine.
Where will we put it? Some channel, and then its name is Schitt's Creek, and that means it gets picked up by Netflix and all these people that are trying to be like slightly transgressive, and then it gets turned into GIFs and memes by people who just literally watch everything on Netflix.
Somebody just goes to Netflix and press shuffle, and it's just like literally watches whatever turns up.
Because the reaction to the show hasn't been, this is a good show. It's always had this inflection when people say, it's, you know what, it's a good show. You know, it's a good show.
It's better than you think. You know, like, it looks.
You know, they're trying to convince themselves when they say it's a good show. They're like, actually, Moira is this character. She's amazing. Yeah. She's actually really good.
Yeah.
She's like Lucille Bluth. They're like a funny character.
Yeah, I wish
She's
I
really
was
good.
Moira.
You know. Yeah. I wish I was Moira, who just is really shrill and doing like, you know, like it's just Catherine O'Hara, who's like, I believe she was in Saturday Night Live, or maybe she was in Second City, or some Canadian it doesn't matter. The point is, like, she's not really pushing outside of her comfort zone. Catherine O'Hara in this, she's doing the character she does. Eugene Levy's doing the character he does, and whatever. If you like it, fine. But anyways, we've gotten distracted by the show enough. Here is the
sort of thing that if you were like, say you posted online and you were like, I don't like Schitt's Creek. Someone who you don't really interact with all that much would post underneath, and they'd say, just let people enjoy things, you know? Is that or how about you let
actually
go on?
Yeah. No, I can see the person that would do that. We both know them. I'm not going to name them, but it would totally be like somebody commenting underneath. I'd be like, Schitt's Creek, this looks like the dumbest shit ever. And then they would be like, oh, interesting. I actually quite liked it. I just out of curiosity, have you watched any of the episodes?
Yeah,
or, you know,
or you just...
And you're just like, yeah. Can we just say, like, it's stupid? Like, you know what I mean? You know when people are like saying a trailer comes out and the movie looks bad, and then people go, oh, this looks like shit, and then they go like, hey, you haven't even seen it. I was like, fucking, the trailer is meant to be like, here's why you should see this movie.
Yeah.
And then if you look at it and you go, that looks like shit, then you can kind of safely just go, I'm not gonna. It'd be like saying like, My Little Pony movie is shit. You haven't even seen it.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't need to see that to know that I don't like it. You know. Speaking of the Holocaust and fascist, Young Fine Gael tweeting out,
yeah.
So they tweeted out this Schitt's Creek thing, but then they have replaced the heads of all of the characters with those of, I guess, their enemies on what they would perceive as the left.
The loony left.
The loony left.
Actually, they probably wouldn't say the loony left. They probably say like the militant, dangerous left, the evil left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've heard of Evil Life? Or is that what it's called? Evil Dead?
Evil Dead, yeah.
This is called Evil Left.
That's their next meme now. The Evil Left.
Yeah.
Actually, we should write that down. That could be our political cartoon, now I'm thinking about
it. Yes.
Okay, so what was it?
So to the left,
let's get back on.
You have Michelle O'Neill, famous Republican.
Can I say as well, like, when you put Michelle O'Neill up here, like, she's some sort of loony left-wing activist.
She brought in austerity into the North. You know what I mean?
I mean, I don't know anything about her politics. She could very well have done that, but like the thing about it is, like the way that they govern up north is not particularly left wing. Do you know?
It's also like she's not in the Republic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
It's like she's just
and so
different jurisdiction.
Yeah. And you kind of are like, well, what's? And I know I'm like, there's more options up there than just the two parties like the DUP and Sinn Féin. But let's say for the base level that this meme is operating at, then the alternative is like, hey, don't indulge in these left wing figures. Why don't you vote for a real person like Arlene Foster or something like that?
One of the most crooked politicians, and also like catering to not even like climate change deniers. Like there are people in that party who don't believe that dinosaurs were real. You know? And Fine Gael are like, yeah, those guys are more reliable than Sinn Féin.
Well, they always the fucked up thing is obviously that they perceive them as more of a reliable ally. Like they'll do anything, even if it's like antithetical to, I guess, what you would think a party in the Republic would view. I'm not saying that like, oh, I wanted, well, I do, a 32 county republic, and whatever. But like, you're talking about two treaty parties who that's like ideally like what they should aspire to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or at least just not. You don't even have to address it. You just kind of take it as a given that this is what you believe. But by their constant kind of sidelining of Sinn Féin in the north. Yeah. And it's all because they don't want to strengthen Sinn Féin's position in the Republic.
Yeah.
That what it means is like, who are you supporting and why?
Yeah.
Like what's wrong? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like,
so Michelle O'Neill's to the left.
Yeah.
To the right?
The furthest to the left, might say. Yeah.
Some might say.
The patriarch of the family, the Eugene Levy character, has been replaced with the head of Richard Boyd Barrett.
Yeah.
And whatever.
He looks cross.
He looks about as cranky as he always does. As cranky and sanctimonious. And just because he's sanctimonious doesn't mean that he's not right. Unless I haven't got the definition of sanctimonious right. In which case I rescind that. Yeah. But next person. The mother.
The mama.
The mama is Mary Lou McDonald.
Yeah, noted Republican who said that she would be in the IRA. Which is the worst. Yeah, it was just the worst position. She was like, if I was born in the Troubles, I'd be in the IRA. You don't get to say that. You know what I mean?
Did she say that?
Yeah. She's always said that.
Okay.
She said that like a million times. It's like, you can't say that. It's like, that's like me being like, yeah, if I was during World War II, I'd freaking kill the Nazis,
Yeah. It's a bizarre boast. It's like Mark Wahlberg with if I'd been on that plane, let me just tell you, 9/11 would have gone a lot different.
But the thing is, I believe Mark Wahlberg. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
okay,
that's the right.
The last person in this lineup. Yeah, the last person in this lineup. Ironically, the farthest right of them is probably would be the farthest left.
Yes.
Is Paul Murphy.
Yeah.
And Paul Murphy, on top of that, everybody has a kind of relatively normal picture, and Paul Murphy has what can only be described as a kind of goofy soy face or something.
Yeah.
Wait, is that soy? No,
well,
that's not
soy adjacent.
Yeah. Okay. There's like between the duck face and the soy face, there is this Paul Murphy face.
Well, it's the ultimate thing of like, when you see a meme made by like the meme your dad would show you about Paul Murphy to make him look bad. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
The meme you see where it'd be like, private school boy wants education to be free, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would have, this would be the picture, just to make him look stupid,
Yeah. They love to make him look as stupid as possible.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I just don't understand why they gave him that picture and Mary Lou McDonald the other one, because that'd be like her campaign poster. Like the rest of them look like campaign pictures, and then Paul Murphy, it's like, we've got a particular level of ire for you, and we're going to show it by having this goofy ass photo of you, you know?
Well, I think because Paul Murphy is like a Leninist, I think. I think they see him as truly evil. Like if he's not a Leninist, he's like, he believes in the revolution, you know?
Oh yeah.
And I think they see
his name, his party is Rise.
Yeah. So I think they see that as like evil. So that's why they hate.
Do you think that they have like a begrudging respect for Mary Lou McDonald? Like just that the way that she kind of looks and carries herself?
I think they also see her as evil, you know? They see her as like violent and undermining democracy, you know?
Yeah.
But I think they see Paul Murphy is sort of like probably see him in the same light that they would see Lenin, you know?
Yeah.
Like, as
a
trickster and anti-democratic.
Yeah, like, and then they kind of need to make him look as foolish as possible. Like, look at this dumbass who thinks that, you know, better things are possible, and you know, and he's just a rich boy. He's just a rich boy who just is trying on socialism, and it's like, as opposed to a rich boy who's trying on like this fucking hard right conservatism. You know, it's like, why is this like? I just don't understand their logic anytime that they bring up the fact that he's from an affluent background. You know?
I know.
But and of course the irony is like, okay, so I just want to talk about the roles that these people have been assigned, and I'm trying to think about the Young Fine Gael mindset when they made this. Okay,
so first of all, Young Fine Gael people love this show. Like, one of the reasons they've chosen this show is because one of them thinks it's the funniest show on TV.
Oh, one of them definitely thinks it's the funniest show, but I would honest to God say that none of them know about this show at all. That would be my take on it. Okay. Which is that they literally have heard it being talked about and we're like, fuck, let's do something, you know?
Yeah. They heard their granny talk. They probably heard Brendan O'Connor talk about it on it.
Or any of the Radio 1 hosts, you know? Because like
download the Brendan O'Connor podcast, you know?
Like, because where would you hear about that? Because honest to God, like, and besides like the fucking reaction gifs that were made by, like, again, the people who only watch Netflix shows, I don't see anybody talking about this show. Pointless intrusion. Do I see anybody talking about this show? No, not personally. Does that mean people aren't talking about it? No. Does that make it a common and ubiquitous piece of media that is like meme worthy, that people will, you know, immediately understand? I don't know. You be the judge. The people that they have been assigned, okay, like on just like looking at it straight away, you can kind of get the idea with Schitt's Creek that, you know, there's a patriarch character, maybe he's kind of a little bit henpecked. There's the boisterous mama, you know, the lady who's just kind of the loud, angry person, you know. And then if you were to take another stab, you'd say, well, the daughter obviously would be kind of subservient a little bit to the mother, you know. And then the son is just the goofiest character in the show. So what I've seen what they do is they've made Mary Lou the mother because then Michelle O'Neill is like her daughter, you know? Yeah. But then the thing that baffles me is like, so what we need to take in is the next line. So the line that they have stamped over it themselves in a terrible drop shadow effect is they've written, Schitt's Creek, don't let it hit the fan. Yes. Okay? Yeah. So, don't let it hit the fan. So they're fixated, like Brendan O'Connor, on the shit part of it, okay? Yeah. So instead of, but it, like as we were saying before, I've said this and it's lost again, so eaten up by the computer, but to do Schitt's Creek and then to go on to another shit-related metaphor as opposed to dealing with the one that you already have.
Yeah, so they could have said
like, it's really annoying.
You know, Schitt's Creek without a paddle, or like, you know, still
always without a paddle.
Yeah, anything.
They should have gone, whoops, I forgot the paddle again. Yeah. You know?
Just to imply that, like, these people don't have it. you know?
They're goofy, they're inept, they don't know what's happening, you know?
Yeah.
Because so what they're doing here is they say, don't let it hit the fan. And to me, that would suggest that there is an election coming up.
Yes.
The idea that, you know, don't make this mistake, don't let it hit the fan, don't let them in, you know?
Yeah.
It's on the attack as opposed to just saying, oh, these guys are clueless and stupid, you know?
Yeah.
Which is something that you could do to just keep your fucking Twitter page alive. Like, we haven't had a meme out there recently, let's throw out something about how they're inept, you know? But they say, don't let it hit the fan, okay? So,
so
what
it
it means then is,
hit the fan.
Oh my god, it's so annoying.
Yeah.
So they don't let it hit the fan, and then that's to imply like, hey, don't make this mistake, don't vote for these people because they'll make things bad. Do you know?
Yeah.
Exactly. They'll make them bad. Okay.
Yeah, unlike now, where they're really good.
Yeah. Well, I think I mean, I don't know how they can reconcile with what's happening right now. I think that they just think, come on, give him a chance. To quote Micheál Martin, all that Sinn Féin can do is just give out to people who are doing their best.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Doing my best.
So like,
it's my first day.
So in response to like the ineptness of like Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil and Greens, there's like a growing, you know, people are turning to the left.
Yeah.
And it's like, don't let this momentum of, you know, caring for your other, you know, countrymen hit the fan. You know, like, the shit is caring for people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What you should say, like, again, if you were to say without a paddle, they would imply that, look, I know that they look like they have a lot of solutions, but they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, the appeal to a voter, and I obviously don't agree with it, is like, you know, these people have never really been in power like we have. I know it looks like everything's falling apart, but like, if trust me, you know, these people don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
Whereas to imply like, you know, don't let it hit the fan, as in don't make this decision to change, you know?
Yeah.
Then you're kind of like, and I don't know, it just is, it's so bizarre. But then the thing about it that I was saying, this was before the call was cut off the last day, it was like, you have these characters here, and it's like, don't let it hit the fan, don't make this decision to bring these people in, okay?
Yeah.
And then you're kind of like, why wouldn't you make it all Sinn Féin? You know? Why wouldn't you make it this credible opposition? What you're doing is you've taken two people. First of all, Michelle O'Neill isn't even in the opposition here. She's already in government up there in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, don't make this mistake. And you're just like, what? You can't. We couldn't make that mistake if we wanted to, you know? Secondly, you know, if you had, you have Mary Lou, who is like, you know, as many believe is going to inevitably be the Taoiseach by the time of another general election. Okay,
she's definitely not. But like,
I mean, I would debate. I would also debate the orthodoxy that she's the Taoiseach in waiting. I don't necessarily agree that I don't think that they've done enough to kind of make themselves stand out, or to make themselves like, that's why they have to include Richard Boyd Barrett and Paul Murphy, because those are figures who provide a credible opposition. Those are the people who have made themselves in direct opposition to the government, and in a way that is aggressive and confrontational, as opposed to Mary Lou going, well, I have to say what the Taoiseach said here is incredibly unfair and incredibly inaccurate. It's like, there's no kind of fucking fire in the belly. That's shit. It. But,
like, I voted for Sinn Féin because I wanted a terrorist to take charge, and
and as I see the convention centre still standing. Yeah. Where's the rubble? Where's the smokes? Where's the screams? Where's the debris? Do you know?
Yeah.
So anyhow, they have to, I guess that's why they had to do that. But my argument would be, I'm just wondering what, you know, I was trying to think about, like, okay, the dad, who is the dad? He is kind of like, you know, a kind of feckless a feckless put upon character, like from the, you know, by the mother character.
Yeah.
So Pierce Doherty to me, would naturally fit into that role. You know, if you were to follow the logic of this meme. Okay.
I mean, the real logic, if you were to follow the logic of Fine Gael, would be, Jerry Adams would be the, henpecking.
Oh yeah.
Wife. And then Mary Lou would be the husband who has been bossed around by the wife.
Yeah. And they'd make a little face. They get a photo of her looking a little kind of like, sad or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And then you said the son is like, he's like a camp gay stereotype, is he?
Yeah. Well, that's what I believe. Yeah.
He'd be who?
I was going to say he'd be Owen O'Brien.
Yeah,
because he'd be like this kind of
eats fish.
feckless
You
agent.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, they'd be like, he eats fish, which is gay,
Yeah. Like, he eats fish, you know what I mean? He's a certain way. He eats fish. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say.
There was a controversy with him. It's like, he would post pictures of himself eating fish. Or like, if people be like, what a champagne socialist. And he'd be like, fish is so cheap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he eats like the shit.
And they
he eats like the worst food. Like, he put up a picture. He's like, can't wait to get stuck into this. And it was like ox. It was like ox tongue.
Yeah.
Like stew. It was like revolting.
Yeah.
It was like,
I loved it because when he like the fish that he prepares, some of it looks quite good, and I'm like, oh, that looks all right. But then he put up something there the last day. I swear to God, it was a leg of meat. I couldn't figure out what animal it was from. Probably a pig. Okay.
Yeah.
But it like the skin on it looked like old weathered skin. And he was like, oh, I can't wait. Look, this is going to be great. I'm not joking. He has a big pot, okay, with this piece of meat in it. And it's just floating in red water. It's made the water like bright ruby red, Like he looks like fucking Buffalo Bill, just like stirring this pot of like, here's my hock of meat water.
It's like some kind of Hereditary,
Yeah. It actually reminds me of Arrested Development, where it's like, she goes, it's hot ham water, It's got a pang of ham at the end of it. And then it was like, chicken. We need a sauce for the chicken. Well, we could use the water I boiled the chicken in. I mean, chicken and chicken, That's the thing about Schitt's Creek. It just reminds me of how good Arrested Development is.
Yeah.
And I get annoyed with it for being like the show that people are like, that gets Emmy recognition and gets like multiple seasons in its prime,
Owen O'Brien's thing reminds me of there's this guy on YouTube and he like recreates 17th century meals. But he always pretends that they're nice. Like a lot of them will be like, this is disgusting. But he'll be like, make the rankest stuff. Like one was like, it was like, what was it? It was like a pie and it had like baked onion, apple, and meat and cranberries. It was just like everything. And he was like, and cheese. And he's like, this is delicious. He just loved it. It's like, and another one is just a baked onion. And he was just like eating it down, pretend it was delicious. That's what Owen O'Brien.
I love like
Owen O'Brien's like skunk fish, It's like it's like the only fish with hair, and he's just like, oh, this is great.
Caught fish ain't it?
Caught in Dublin,
Yeah. So he like the guy that you were telling me about there, like you've talked about him before, this YouTube guy, and he like he's like one of those like girls who's like, I was born in the wrong decade. I should have been born in the 1800s. And like it's like all this awful stuff that you'd have to endure if you lived at that time. It's like, actually this is great. This is great, and this proves that I should have been born in that decade, because I love eating like a belt with like cinnamon on it,
There's one where he made this drink called an Orange Fool, and he made it because it was George Washington's favorite drink.
Oh yeah, you're telling me. Yeah.
And like he then released this video the next day being like, I've received so much harassment because of that drink. It's like, because people thought that he was like making a point about Trump, And he was like,
Yeah.
please just let me live in the 17th century, you know? He just was like...
I love, you know, like, you know that they were like, oh, we need like media literacy classes, or we need like people to be coached about online harassment and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like lesson one of online harassment should be, it exists, like obviously it gets to a stage where it's like way too much, but there's a point where it's like, listen, if you exist as a person online, there is a certain level of ambient harassment that you're just going to have to accept. And it is not like, it does not mean that you are like, I can't believe I was just posting my little video about the orange fool and now I've been descended on by hundreds of people going, I know a certain orange fool myself. And you're just fucking like, would you like just turn off the comments, move away.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing you can do about that. People sending you death threats, as soon as it really reaches a certain threshold, then you can be upset about it.
Yeah.
But until that point, that's just the ambient noise of the internet, as far as I'm concerned. So I think like
Owner Brain would be the son.
Yeah, and I think that as for the image, I think that basically sums it up, except for the watermark up the top left, which also is like,
who would be the daughter?
Yeah. Oh, who would be the daughter? Out of the Sinn Féin and the Republic. I thought they'd just leave it Michelle O'Neill. If they were being particularly saucy, they could make it Lynn Boylan.
Why?
Who is married to Owen O'Brien.
Oh, yeah.
Owen O'Brien. Yeah. But, no. Who would it be? It would be... I mean, it because it's Young Fine Gael, it would be some person who largely people don't know about, but who appears on like drive time radio and is kind of just annoyed at the you know, the people in power. Who's her name? Is it Rita Cronin?
It'd be like some girl from, what's the Young Sinn Féin organisation?
Oh, I don't know. Ogra Sinn Féin?
It'd just be like some girl they know from Young Sinn Féin. It'd just be like a little bit of cyberbullying, you know?
Yeah, yes.
It'd be like...
No, but who's...
A photo... Yeah. It'd be like a photo they took themselves of the girl when she's like, was out or something, you know?
Yeah. There's a lady who's in Sinn Féin and she's like kind of responsible for one of my... Like... What's the one? Oh, that fucking feckless Egypt who's got like this perfect... He has like a Funko Pop head and he's like red ham colour, you know? And so they were asked about like on... Do you remember they were asked about... I think we talked about it before because I know that I photoshopped his face into the artwork of an episode and it was he's just glistening. He's disgusting. And but she was on the... Yeah, so Matt Cooper asks the pair of them, he goes like, so what do you think of the Leo's Spin Féin remark? And she goes, well, I don't think he'd thank you to bring it up again, given it's quite an embarrassing statement, you know?
Yeah.
And then they go to that guy and he goes, well, I actually think, God, it was quite a funny line. He's like licking his lips. It was just everything about him revolting, you know?
Yeah, he's like horny for the line.
Yeah. But she's pretty good. She's pretty good. I like her, so I have a feeling that. But I also don't think that she's like.
Do you think they'd be
necessarily a prominent member of the party?
Do you think they'd be like, let's get Gareth? You know, let's say slide at Gareth and put in his favourite Sinn Féin member.
Yeah, that's what they. You know what? If we get on the radar for Young Fine Gael, I would be over the moon. Yeah. That would be such an achievement. You know,
maybe we should just like cyberbully them. You know what I mean?
We should openly harass them and we should invite them. Come on the pod. Young Fine Gael,
send your oldest member onto the pod and we can just be like, you're 35 years old.
We can learn so much from him, yeah. He's got decades of experience of being young.
Yeah.
So the watermark up the top left is so that nobody can, you know, take this meme and plant it on like, you know, 9gag or wherever, yeah.
Or like where Reddit memes Ireland. Fine Gael probably their own subreddit or WhatsApp
Bebo,
group.
You know.
Yeah. Bebo. Yeah, they definitely.
And then
they're like the social media strategist is like, our Bebo page is getting no hits. Whip up a meme, you know?
Yeah. Let's make a meme for Young Fine Gael in the mid 2000s, 2006.
Yeah. Or They could be on Elo as well. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I'm just trying to think of stuff that the Irish people would have been talking. Oh yeah, it'd be ratemyteacher.com and it would be Mary Lou and it would be like a real bonehead.
Yeah.
And that would be it, you know.
Or
just missing the point entirely.
Yeah, they'd be like planking, you know.
That's 2010. You're completely off.
Okay. Well then, I didn't really use the internet all that much, and would it be Goatsy? Could I?
Just put Mary Lou's face inside Goatsy.
Yeah, it's like way too extreme. It's like to the point where it's like sexual harassment. They're like,
do you know what I like? Just imagine it because it just reminded me of that bit from The Simpsons, but I was just applying it to this meme. Do you know, it's like, I don't understand it. Are you saying that you and Barb are bad neighbors? No, the man and his boy. The Schitt's Creek meme, and it's like, well, listen, I'll take it down. I thought it was self-explanatory, but
yeah. What do you think they'd be like if someone was like, do you know that two guys recorded a 2-hour podcast about
just dissecting this meme,
yeah,
and trying to figure out like what it meant and just how bad it is on so many levels.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to be very clear. I do hate you, Young Fine Gael. I don't give a shit about you. But despite the fact having a 2-hour podcast, it'd be like what they're doing here, the reaction that presumably that they're getting is to be like, well, you're talking about us, so actually we win. And it's like, I'm looking at you like some sort of curious anomaly, like this strange creature where you're just like, what the fuck is this? Like, how did you come to these conclusions? What does it say about you as a person? How do you exist? Do you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel threatened by you in any way, shape, or form. Least of all, if this is the meme that you come up with, because you're not tapping into anything. You clearly are so far removed from having your finger on any pulse. Do you know?
Yeah.
Even the pulse of like a fucking dying man. You know what I mean? Like, it's just.
Yeah.
It's such a weird mixture of nothing.
But hey, it's a party of Michael Collins, so they got that going for them. The young party of Michael Collins.
I don't know if you noticed, but if you saw that thing, but they have like the origins of the party on their official website, and they removed Owen O'Duffy, and he used to be on it apparently, but now he's not.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it's they're kind of like, obviously it's, you know, if you're a campaign thing, you know, to me, like, I mean, they would never do this because it would require you kind of having a humility and dignity and a kind of like reflection on the things you believed in.
Yeah.
But if you put up Owen O'Duffy and it's like, look, we're not proud of our past, but here it is, and all warts and all, and just to reassure you that Young Fine Gael or Fine Gael will never, you know, we don't bullshit you. Do you know what I mean? This is the party that we are. Do you know?
Yeah.
But instead they can't do that. They couldn't even admit that. They have to be like, no, we were always good. We were always right. You know.
That's it. They're like, they won't take. Yeah. They'll take Collins, who was not in their party at all, who like, never even heard the words Fine Gael. But they will leave Owen O'Duffy, who was, you know,
instrumental.
Yeah.
Just to the last thing I'll say about this meme as well, that they have written onto it, you know, so every single meme that they have is like, you know, so they've written on the image, don't let it hit the fan, and then they've written in the tweet, don't let it hit the fan, and then underneath it, join our team, Young Fine Gael, and they're like, this is a recruitment tool, you know what I mean? Let's get the fucking hearts going, let's get some people on board. Do you believe in something? Do you believe in change? Get in on this, you know? Yeah,
they're so confident about this that they're like, let's, you know, we better print off a load of new badges, you know, we better increase the server space for all the requests we're going to get, you know?
I was just thinking about, you know, people who are good at social media, or that, you know, famously conservatives are jealous of their social media, like AOC, for example. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
where people would be like, you know, wow, how does she do it? Like, remember the guy who told her, like, you're a fucking bitch or something like that?
Yeah.
And
it's so wild how, like, you know, there are all these, like, subtle insults that politicians will give each other. Like I'm reading the book about Brexit, and whenever it talks about the Conservative Party slagging each other, it's always like, you know, the minister talks about toilets, but maybe there's another form of evacuation that might be relevant to what he's saying.
Yes, exactly.
And then with the AOC, it's like, you're a fucking bitch. And like, you know, what the fuck are you wearing? You know, those are...
I love, like...
Like, it's so harsh.
Can I just say, like... No, I'm not defending, obviously, this, what happened to AOC, but the contemporary Republican Party... and their ability now to just shed that awful kind of like, well, you know, as Aristotle once said, such and such, and then go like, and I think that there's a few of them in this room, sir. You know what I mean? The fact that they can just go fuck off, like they're so like confident in their power and they're assured in their commitments that they can now just literally say to people like, fuck you, that's what I think. And you know, like I actually think I wish that everybody could be like that. But then, to be honest, like I said, AOC is sort of like that. Her response wasn't to be like, you know, she did go on the floor and say like, you know, oh, you know, women should be treated with respect and blah blah blah, and you know, did the stuff for the libs. But then the other thing she did was her walking up to the Capitol building, just grinning from ear to ear, just. Like, she's wearing a mask, but her cheeks are, like, so obviously smiling that you can see them, like, above her mask.
Yeah.
And she's, like, it's like a 10-second video that goes on a loop, and playing underneath it is... I'm a boss. I'm a bitch and a boss. I'm a shine like glass. I'm a bitch. I'm a boss. And it's just literally, like, fucking dusting off your shoulders, like, I don't fucking care about you. And it's, like, it's just a really nice response. And the stuff that... The way that she's used social media... Like, it's the way that they said Obama did use social media, where it's like, oh, he looks so effortless and he's on the campaign trail. I was like, no, but she's actually doing that. She's not pretending to do that like he is. She's actually doing it. And these people are, like, seeing that. And just because of the things that they like and the people that they are, first of all, they are too organized and tidy to be able to have a sloppy meme like AOC. Yeah. Like, AOC just throws out a video like that. And like one of the things that she did, which I thought was amazing, was Nancy Pelosi was very dismissive of AOC and a few others, you know, of the new Congresswomen back in 2018.
All the and women of color who are left-leaning, she was very dismissive of, you know.
She would of course get into a photograph for Rolling Stone magazine, but she would kind of dismiss them as like, yeah, they're the youngins, and then you kind of need to sit down and shut up, if I'm honest, you know. And then AOC hit back at her with something like, I can't remember what she said, but she's like, well, you know, something like maybe you could use our perspective, and maybe, you know, you shouldn't be so dismissive. Yeah. And it was kind of, at the time, it was like considered, oh, fucking trouble in paradise or something like that, you know. But AOC, she was moving into her office, and it was a great video. And she like, here's my office, and then she like shows the door of her office, and then pans slightly to the left and shows that like Nancy Pelosi's door is right next to hers, and then she tilts the camera around to show her face, and she's going like, like awkward, you know, this type of thing. And it's like, I thought that was fucking great, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like, that's another way of like stripping away this fucking veneer, and you know, and also pointing out that like these people are, you know, when Nancy Pelosi called it like what, the Green New fucking Dream or something, like that's not harmless. It's not like she's an old lady who's out of touch, who doesn't know what she's doing. Like, she's deliberately being dismissive, and then when you have somebody who just responds to that by going like, oh yeah, fuck you, then it's Nancy Pelosi is like, I've no idea what this is, like, what am I looking at exactly, you know. But anyhow, these young Fine Gaelers can't do that. They, you know, will create this meme, and it's just this neat, tidy, we want to make sure that everybody knows it's Young Fine Gael. We want it to be clear what we're saying, and then it just comes across as this baffling, like, you know, amalgamation of all the things that they don't like, and all these kind of like, you know, there's a calibration to what they've done, but it all combines to make something that makes absolutely no sense. I also just want to add in some other points that I made in a thread that I don't know, probably shouldn't exist. Probably shouldn't get so worked up about one meme. But it's memes made by joyless people who don't understand the appeal of memes. They obviously put Young Fine Gael at the end and plastered all over it because they know that you're supposed to make memes because that's what people are doing, but they don't understand the reason why people might enjoy them or share them. And that's why they choose these kind of things like League of Their Own. You like that, do you? Or, they choose fucking, Knives Out because it's got the word that we need. Or Schitt's Creek, that's in the news right now on the fucking gramophone that I listen to. And also a final point that we actually didn't get to mentioning was the irony of having a show where a family, maybe this is the most obvious point of all, which is a rich family who have to move to ostensibly working class town and are completely out of touch and don't understand things. Out of touch elites. Does that sound like the people who are in that meme or the people making that meme? All right. So there's one last thing I want to talk about, and that's the end of that meme. We're done with Young Fine Gael. 2 hours is enough for that, okay?
Yeah.
But I want to talk about one last thing just before we go, and I'm going to keep it as quick as possible. Maybe it'll get cut. But Stephanie Preisner there the last day. Stephanie Preisner, who has famously throughout the lockdown been praising Leo and Simon Harris and talking about how much she misses them, and Stephanie Preisner, who is the showrunner, who's the head writer of Can't Cope, Won't Cope, and likes to do all these things like adulting like a boss. Her dream is to be like, the Leo Varadkar or Emmett Kerwin, like the old young people, that's what she's made her name off of. And she also did the what's that thing? Didn't she write she wrote like a book, or the launch of a book was Noreen O'Sullivan was there to launch it.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
She's like, can you imagine?
Okay, I just looked it up. This isn't a fact check, this is just because the article is very funny. But it was in 2017 that her book was launched. Noreen O'Sullivan joined Garda kind of by accident. Former commissioner launches Stephanie Preisner's new book at Nando's in Dublin. The cheeky Nando's. Name of the book is Why Can't Everything Just Stay the Same? Okay. Miss O'Sullivan said she had a job in a vegetable shop and was working in an insurance company. So here we go. The girl boss bullshit. Surgeon. Preisner, the creator of RT series Can't Cope, Won't Cope, has written about how she wanted to be the Garda Commissioner as a child, and for this reason she asked Miss O'Sullivan to launch her book. The two have mutual friends. Surprise. When she asked me to launch the book, I suppose I was in a different place. I was Garda Commissioner, Miss O'Sullivan said. I know there's a lot of speculation about what's the commonality between Garda Commissioner and launching a book for Stephanie Preisner. Well, as anybody knows that read the book or gets the opportunity to read the book, Steph had a great desire to not just join the Guards, but to go straight to the top and be the Garda Commissioner. There's the youth I recognise.
How do you do, fellow kids?
Preisner said that following Miss O'Sullivan's retirement, that she thought the former commissioner was not going to want to do it. Turns out she wanted to do it, and I thought, is there anyone better to launch a book about the challenges that come with change and how challenging change can be, she said. Don't blame me for the way that was read out. The Irish Times have terrible formatting. But is there anybody better? I wonder why she stepped down. I wonder why she's no longer the Garda Commissioner and she had the time on her hands. I wonder why she would want to do this kind of cute, cuddly, youth-oriented, image-changing event. I wonder why. But yes, queen, bitch, like a boss. Cut that... Yeah, cut that ribbon, get that giant scissors and open the book. Start the book. Let's do the book. Let's do the fuck... Like, what she's trying to do is she's trying to bring the girl boss energy over here. And of course her, like... because it means, hey, look, that woman got to a position of power, and that means something. And then it's like, yeah, she also accused a guy of being a pedophile, but, whatever. It's like...
Yeah, for like, I know we've probably talked about it, but like, he was accused of being a pedophile for like reporting that people were letting their friends off speeding tickets.
All to say that she's like carrying water for the government in a huge way, and I guess like maybe that was just like her family's politics, and I don't think that she believes that it's incongruous to kind of have these, you know, progressive ideals, you know, socially progressive stuff and culturally progressive stuff in extreme air quotations. So anyways, she posted a thing there yesterday of her driving up South William Street, and she going, the crowds on South William Street today, lads, we haven't a hope. And the word lads, I also wanted, I take great umbrage. This is like my most sexist opinion, probably my most consciously sexist opinion, not my, I probably have a bunch of unconscious shit that I don't know about, but I hate when women refer to groups of people as lads, and you can just hear the inclination. Like, I just imagine somebody with like their hands up and they're kind of looking at you like, lads, let me tell you. And it's like, I can't imagine a way of saying that in any context that she would, that isn't incredibly pandering and folksy. Do you know what I mean? And something to try and humanize her in this weird way, like, you know, not humanize. I mean, you know, I don't think she thinks about it in that way. She doesn't think I'm a fucking robot, I need to make myself a human. But like, it to me, it strikes of just pure affect, you know? But anyway, she goes, so the crowds, so lads, we haven't a hope, hate it, whatever. And she shows South William Street, and there's all these like tables, outdoor tables, and people walking down South William Street, and a lot of masks, a lot of distance. And, you know, the Green Party has also one of the, you know, I mean, it is, you know, elitist and tone deaf as a lot of Green Party things go, but it is still something that they've agitated for, which is to pedestrianize South William Street, you know? So you have all these businesses, they were closed, the government restrictions were lowered, that Leo fucking lowered, the guy that you say that you want to have back, you know? And people are trying to just, they don't have to be in their houses going stir crazy. And, you know, everybody is trying to get by as best as they can, wedging these tables onto the street, you know, and just sitting there, having a fucking socially distanced drink, you know? And she's kind of going like, look at these mobs. And it's kind of, it's just such a narrow street that there's no way to avoid, there's no way that anybody can be 2 meters apart from each other, but people are following the guidelines as best as they can. And it's not against the rules. And like,
she's also there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But she's probably fucking coming from brunch, like, you know?
Yeah. I hate those people who get so aggro about all the COVID stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, it really is a thing where you can only worry about yourself.
Yeah.
Or maybe your group.
Yeah.
But people who wander around town taking fucking pictures and being
scolding
like,
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so lame. It's like so wanna be a guard, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, the thing about it as well, I was going down through the comments, and then somebody was like, I was basically just calling her out for, you know, just shaming people for trying to fucking live, go about their fucking lives, you know? It's like, again, like I said, it's like, I do think that first of all, I think that the restrictions were lowered way too soon. That's basically it. I think that, you know, as hard and all as it was, it would be better to continue on the way that we were as opposed to going back to it. So I think that the government made the completely wrong call, you know? The people that she supports, you know, and so whatever, cat's out of the bag now. Do I think that the pubs and restaurants should be open? Not necessarily, but the fact that they are open and people are going to them, do I find anything wrong with that? No, I don't, because people need to do things. I'm sorry, like, I know that, you know.
Well, that's it. Like, I mean, and there's also this fucked up thing where it's like the pubs are open and like everyone spends the whole time complaining that the economy is fucked and that, you know, these businesses are doing badly, and then people go and then people start complaining that people are out too much.
I know.
You know what I mean? It's like, if stuff is open, like if stuff was closed and then reopened, it's fair to assume that it's safe to use. You know?
No, I was just saying that, like, you know, so much of it is as a broad message, let's say, just being taken for granted, okay? So, like, and I'm not saying individuals are like this. I'm saying the public as a fucking unit is like this. You know what I mean? Like, you and I, for example, would be like, fuck it, I probably don't have COVID. I can go to this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My friend probably doesn't have COVID. I don't know anybody who has COVID. It's all fine. Do you know what I mean? And that's, you know, when we think that as individuals, not really. It's not really that big a deal. But as far as everybody thinking that, then that this shit can't sustain. It falls apart. So the thing that people have been, they're like, God, these people, don't they know that there is a pandemic on? Do you know that there's a virus, and here they are at these raves, and here they are doing these things. And it's like, the problem is that the social contract has been broken. The mentality has been broken. People were in it together and helping out and trying to do their best. But then when the government said, okay, well, that's over, then people accepted that. Do you know what I mean? And and it just, it's something that is, again, like I said, harder to put back in the bag or harder to repair. And people keep saying this, I don't know what's so hard to understand. The pubs are open, but there's no music and you can't talk above a certain decibel. You need to be in a group of 6 or more. You need to be here. And it's like, all those rules are rules, but the general ethos is, if things are open, fuck it, the country is open, do you know? And that's not the public's fault. That's the government's fault, do you know? Because the idea of the government is to organize people on a kind of mass scale. Do you know what I mean? Like, Leo was like, lockdown, and then the country goes into lockdown, you know? And that's it. And that's, you should be, ideally, you know, not too authoritarian, the idea of government, which is like, you know, a contract that we all enter into, that we're saying, like, this is all of us working in unison to appoint leaders to kind of allow this transfer of wealth, information, changes to the public good that kind of benefit a community as a whole, do you know? So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just, I really can't handle it. And Radio 1 is on all the time in the house now because I'm living at home, and I can't handle it. Every single thing is somebody scolding somebody, and they're scolding them, and then in the next breath will be like, well, you know, the meat plants, it's a tough one, that, you know, we have to figure it out. Like, obviously businesses have to stay open, and it's like, you know, they love, and anyway, this is just to epitomize the fucking mentality of a Stephanie Preisner type, like, you know, this kind of, you know, liking the Guards, being a Fine Gael supporter, do you know what I mean? But also for her brand, she has to keep that on the down low, because you can't be a young person and support all these things. But it comes out in these ways where you're just using, like, lads, listen, why the fuck aren't you inside doing, you know, with a mask on your head and staying under the covers so that I don't fucking die? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's, you know, it's folksy authoritarianism is what it is, really. Do you know?
Modern day, like, curtain twitching, you know?
Yeah. But the point is, somebody commented underneath it saying, this is the final point I'll say on this, and then we fucking really wrap it up. But underneath it, somebody was going, I think it's, you know, that you're shaming people and it's no good. And then Sarah Carey, who we've talked about on the podcast before as being one of the most awful fucking columnists, who's constantly carrying water for the government, says, luckily the comments are proving that there isn't any appetite for this type of shaming, essentially.
Yeah.
So she's actually on our side in this argument. And I just found it very funny, like, these two different people who are famous for carrying water for the government coming to odds over completely different, you know, like, she's like, oh, the government is good and they've put all of these restrictions in place for our safety, so we need to follow them. And then the other person is going, cracking the whip on the fucking plebs who are out there just enjoying, like, a summer evening. It's like two different types of love of authoritarianism coming against each other in the comments. It's very funny.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's that. This went on way too long. But I think that the meme deserved it. I think it really did.
Yeah.
And it didn't deserve it because it was good, and it didn't deserve it because it induced a rage in us. It deserved it because it is such a complex strange assortment of images that only a true madman could come up with. A crazy person, you know?
Yeah, it's really the Kanye West of memes.
Yes, exactly. I was going to say, like, if we're talking about on a spectrum, okay, Kanye West is on one side and this meme is on the exact other, but they are the exact same type of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, one of them is like eclectic, probing artist who's got mental difficulties and is just allowed to express that in the most honest way possible.
Yeah.
And then the other one is the most corporate kind of overanalyzed, you know, dull,
also insane.
Bullshit. Also insane, but also insane is the key thing there.
So we better thank our patrons.
We better thank our fucking patrons. You guys help to keep on the lights.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
Keep the memes coming in. It's Connor Barry.
Yeah.
Now you say one.
Fuck. I'm trying to open it up. Hold on. Oh my god, I turned the heat on and I'm sweating, boy. Lads, I am sweating. Let's just do it in order so that we don't miss on any of them, okay? We got Connor Barry.
Okay, just
sorry, you said that.
Yeah.
Liam McCartan.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'll just go for the rest of them. I thought we were going to do one for one, you know?
Well, you have a list. I don't have a list.
Alright, fine. Thank you very much to Connor Barry, Liam McCartan, Claire O'Neilan, Niall McGillicool, Ronan Kerry, Niamh Kelly, Paulie Doyle, and Joe Joyce, top tier subscriber, leader of Antifa in Ireland. He's the branch manager for Antifa in Ireland, you know?
Yeah.
We're handing our reports in. I know they're a little late, and Joe Joyce is just looking at him going like, I don't know, like, there is something here, but I'm not seeing the commitment to that your previous work had, and he's just asking us to do better and up our ante, and like, do we really expect to get a promotion if we're handing in this level of work, you know?
I don't really get this bit.
He's a branch manager for Antifa.
And who are we?
We're like the employees of Antifa.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm your boss.
Become a patron at patreon.com/Celtic Ligers for more.